I'm not really sure how to start this video, so on the topic of comparison, why don't we compare 3 options? 1. Classic to-the-point YouTuber. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Alex, and in this video I'll be talking about comparison. New Year's Eve is coming up, so resolutions are coming up, and with resolutions come expectations and comparing yourselves to others, I guess. Does that make sense? 2. Personal sob story. It was a dreary night of November that I beheld the repercussions of comparing myself to others. 3. Cinematic voiceover. So many videos have been recorded about comparing yourself. How will mine even add up to all that? Great. So many videos have been recorded with a voiceover at the beginning and the YouTube person in question making weird faces and not knowing what to do. What will I do now? We cannot escape comparing ourselves to others. No matter what people say, we can't. I don't believe we can. We need contrast. Without contrast and comparison, everything would blur together. The social comparison theory was proposed in 1954 by psychologist Leon Festinger. We use social comparison to make accurate evaluations of ourselves. And sure, we can fight against that, and it can help sometimes, but yeah, we can't escape that fully. You could say it's a cognitive benefit. We use it to make judgments and decisions more quickly, because we create those associations very seamlessly, almost naturally. But there are too many variables and emotions and ego involved to compare ourselves to others successfully in a way that is rational and makes sense. I mean, come on, who are we to make rational decisions? Right. The trick here is that we naturally consider others as standards a lot of the time. That's the danger, because everyone is different, and seeing others as a standard on how to act or to be gives us a contradictory manner in which we think we should behave. And it's different from how we actually want to behave a lot of the time. And why do we consider others as a standard? Well, the difference between ourselves and everyone else is that we own our consciousness, our perspective, and we only see people's behavior, which suggests we trust behavior more than consciousness or perspective. It seems not to matter how someone truly feels when we compare ourselves to them. All that we take into account, or most, is how they behave or what their situation looks like from the outside. So we put more trust in appearance than on what's inside. We do live in the world of not only instant gratification, but instant anything. Instant judgment, instant impression, and it's impossible to make a really good judgment without reflection. So it's easier and quicker to judge based on one's appearance or behavior. And then somehow it becomes a standard. Or that's how I see it. And we can never see ourselves the way we see other people. We can only experience ourselves on the inside. And it's almost as if we trust seeing more than experiencing. Is it because seeing is safer? Experiencing always involves a risk, uncertainty, room for error. Experiencing is always in the middle of happening. But when we see something, it had already happened. So maybe that's a trick. Considering other people as a standard feels more certain. It is more set in stone because we perceive it in a tangible physical reality. But we, no matter how old or wise or experienced we are always in the middle of becoming because we experience it. So how can we be a standard for anything if we're forever unfinished, forever in the middle of becoming? In this sense, maybe comparison is a rather twisted coping mechanism, among other things, and makes us more certain in believing that we know other people and how we should act or be based on our perceptions of them and of our consideration of them as a standard, because we consider them as finished, as full people, where we know we aren't full because we're always in the middle of moving and becoming and changing. Is embracing uncertainty the answer, then? It is true, after all, if we think we know another person well, we feel more secure. And if we automatically assume them to be normal, a standard, then it's easier to believe we know them. So we play this game of identifying everyone as normal in order to feel safer in our certainty of knowing the world. But that takes a huge toll on our self-perception. Is that a choice we must make? Can we ever stop comparing ourselves without first relinquishing the rigidity we feel about society and reality itself? And also, can we ever drop the need for safety and certainty without standing on our own 2 feet first? The thing is, we really don't know what the real standards are. For example, if it takes you a very short amount of time to succeed at something, whereas I keep failing and stumbling in the same thing, we cannot tell which is normal or the standard here. It's kind of funny how we don't have a clue and yet we all pretend that we do. Maybe we are in a simulation in this artificial environment where the standards are put upon us, but really there are no standards. We made them up, and some surely help us, like say the law, but some hinder us. And of course it's easier if we have those standards. It feels more certain, because then we have clear-cut rules on what is right and what isn't, or in this context, who is right and who isn't. But only if you realize they are illusory, we have a chance to stop comparing ourselves in a toxic way, because we'll never stop comparing ourselves fully. So the next time you start toxically comparing yourself to other people, ask yourself, first of all, what made you put this standard upon yourself? Is it because you really believe in it? Or is the standard reinforcing your conception of life as stable, with clear-cut rules on how we should or should not be, based on how we perceive other people, and consider them as normal or right in some way, better than us? And two, why are you putting the value of someone's appearance and or behavior over your own consciousness? You had been given yourself, your consciousness for a reason. Don't take that for granted. We know what feels right for us. We know that the only thing we know is what feels right for us. Or the only thing we know is what we know. And we also know our own path. And yet we trust in what we don't know and what we only see. And we trust in it because it seems more reliable, quantifiable even, if we're comparing our successes and failures to others. But nothing is more reliable than your own experience. It's the only thing that allows you to live as yourself. So don't disregard your only condition of living in the world the way you do, just in order to try to live in the pseudo agreed upon right way. Just don't. And I'm saying this both to you and to myself. Because, of course, I struggle with this immensely, like a lot of people, with my art, YouTube, or writing, with my personal life, a lot of things. So let's all stop this right now. Or let's try, at least. Of course, it's difficult. And it goes for any area of life. But don't mix their appearance with your experience. You only see a skewed representation of their life, but you own the original of yours. Those two, though they love nothing more than to compare themselves, are not compatible. They're comparable, but not compatible. You can try all you want to compare the incompatible. Your brain may even be wired to do it, but you will fail every time. I know this is all rather abstract, but writing all this out has actually given me a lot of insight into this and showed me a new perspective. And so I hope that my trail of exploration has moved you in some way too. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like it and share it and consider subscribing to my channel if you want to see more of these kinds of videos in the future. And thank you for your time.